Hello and welcome to CJB Games, Cameron here, and today we're starting off sprint number 4 for the game Groundskeeping, a first-person multiplayer hotel maintenance horror game. First things first, we're going into full damage control. Since last sprint, the new version of Unreal has been released, so instead of working in the beta version, we are going to now upgrade everything to 5.0. With this, we firstly need to update the sprint to reflect this and begin migrating the project. Unfortunately, and rather unsurprisingly, the update broke a lot of things, especially when it comes to the multiplayer plugin that I included in an earlier sprint. So I've tried for a long time and couldn't seem to get my existing project working properly. In the end, I had to find a happy medium between starting a new project and migrating a lot of the smaller aspects from the previous one over. I made sure to copy all the original project settings and all the plugins and configs were updated accordingly. Another thing I noticed was a lot of the existing textures from the marketplace assets had broken in the update, which was very annoying as it rendered a lot of the environment I had previously made or sort of worthless. With a bit of umming and ahhing, I've decided that I need to start creating a new main level and will return to the Red Pig Inn one at a later date. There are also a few more reasons that I've made this decision as well, due to mistakes I've made previously. For one, the Red Pig Inn was just way too big in scope for the detail I wanted to achieve in the environment, and so the new one I will create will be a lot more smaller and achievable. Another mistake I will not repeat is having everything in one single level. This time, each part of the map will be in its separate level, so I can take advantage of the level streaming mechanic in Unreal. So with that all decided, let's begin to fix things on this freshly made project. Firstly, we will need to change the existing options that I've included in the game already. Another thing I realised that was a mistake last time was trying to include ray tracing in my project. I want this game to be able to be ran on most setups, so ray tracing just needs to be forgotten about. And obviously because of Lumen, things will still look beautiful regardless. So with that said, I decided to change the option of toggling ray trace reflections to toggling ambient inclusion on and off, and the ray tracing shadows I've changed to toggling bloom on and off. These things weren't too hard to achieve as the framework for both blueprints had already been built, and so now that this is done, we can begin to bring all those things that we can salvage from the Red Pig Inn into this new map that I've decided to call Merton House. These things include the day-night cycle, the enemy blueprint, and the exit pink orb that can all be copied, and a few more things as well. So with all that done, I can create the new level select for this second attempt. Because I want to eventually come back to the Red Pig Inn, we will be creating an option to cycle between the two levels. This means I'm going to create a little title card so the player can tell which one they are selecting. With that done in Photoshop, we can edit the blueprints, so this level screen is now working nicely. In a similar vein, we also need to make a new high score screen as well in the main menu. This was simple as well and was basically the same setup for the level select, but with the individual high scores displayed for those particular maps. With the loop of the new level now finished, I want to fix an issue I noticed from last sprint's playthrough. The button clicking sound was only coming through one of my earphones. So what I'll have to do is go back into Premiere Pro and edit each individual sound cue so that they now come through both ears equally. This task wasn't hard at all, but was just mainly a time-consuming one. Now that all these tweaks are done, our project is in a healthy state and it's timed for the first task that I thought I'd finished in the first sprint, whiteboxing the environment. So with the lessons I learned from my previous attempt this time, I'm making a much smaller map that will have predominantly only one building. Unlike the Red Pig Inn, which was a bed and breakfast gig, this one will be more akin to an Airbnb location that you're taking care of, and I think this fits as a level 1 a lot more nicely. I decided to start with the front of the building, and I made good use of text assets so I could name each room as I was making them. Because there is only one building now, I can focus on it having more rooms than the previous one, and this is also why I decided to use the text assets so I didn't lose track of which rooms I'd made. It didn't take too long until I finished the ground floor of the property, and I can now move on to the outside of the building. Next I started with the front garden and road area, making sure to use different colours for different elements of the white box. This should make it a lot easier when trying to discern which parts are which when testing, and also for scale. I also made sure to include a lot of point lights when I began to close the roof off, as the last thing I want is the playtesters not being able to see where they can go. So that about does it for the white box for now. I've made some good progress with it, and we'll leave the rest for future episodes. Thank you for watching, guys. I know this seems like a bit of a reset, but these things happen a lot in the world of game dev. I'm sure I can make an even better map and include greater detail with a much smaller scope. If you want to see more of this game being made, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to support me further, you can get my previous game on Steam now called Escape from Violet Institute. See you all next time.